Welcome to the Landscape Photography Vlogcast, hosted by myself, Tom Peters, aka the Photo Ninja, all the way up north, Paul Thompson Photography, and Struth mate, it's Matt Bishop. We cover all things photography and chat to some of the best photography minds in the business. Put your feet up, the kettle on, and let's jump straight into this week's Vlogcast. Well, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Ain't been that long, has it, since the last one? We're on it, aren't we?
Yeah, we're on it this time. We're back.
I knew you were going to say that.
He always gets said before me now.
Oh, what?
How many times can you use that? How many times can we be back?
Every episode. When you stop using it, we will.
So we've got unlimited supply at the minute. We're all right.
Into that one.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Happy
New Year's, guys. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Good Christmas and New Year, everybody.
Bloody oath. What's our New Year's resolution, guys, for photography? Let's talk
I
about
don't do that shit.
You don't do that shit, do you? Okay.
I don't do that resolution crap because it's just a waste of space.
Just pretend for the podcast, it was the subject for this evening. No, it's not. But you, Tommy, New Year's resolution?
I'll drink less.
You drink less. Drink less next year.
Yeah, next year.
As he's taking.
How about you, Tommy?
For me, I think this year I will be dropping days at work. Is my New Year's resolution.
Jeez.
Yeah,
okay.
at least one, maybe two. Yeah, that's the plan.
Month or a week?
A week.
A week. One, maybe two. Girl, you can go part-time.
Part-time, full-time. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah. That's the plan. Get some of my evenings back then as well.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Dedicate more time to the family and dedicate a bit more time to photography.
Yeah, rather than the day job. Yeah, I think so.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll just do a day, try and keep it somewhat realistic as opposed, don't put too much pressure on myself.
Okay.
You just do a day.
Yeah.
See where we go.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I've got two New Year's resolutions actually, for photography wise. The first one is to slow down. I probably don't, and this has probably been since I'm out on field, I feel like I'm pressured to produce some form of content for one reason or another. I'm not talking about content, I'm talking about an Instagram post. I'm talking about content for professional reasons, where that might be tutorial based or whatever it is. And I feel pressured that I have to make that content probably the same that you guys would with your YouTube channel. You feel like you're pressured into producing this content. So you're not in such a relaxed state when you're out on field. I want to this year dedicate more time to slowing down for me as a photographer, because I like being out in nature and I want to be able to feel it more and probably end up getting better results too from it, better imagery, when you're more that relaxed, that Zen state. And then trying to separate that between the professional side of things. So maybe do, when I've got the professional part, the business side of the photography, that's something different again, But I just feel that a lot of time I'm out there for me, and at the same time I'm out there for producing some form of content. And I want to not try and mix them too much, but I think it's important, especially in I think probably in the last 12 months. So if I look at 2023, I don't think I've become a better photographer. And I've definitely developed more skills in the business world with photography, that's for sure, but probably not on a personal level. So I want to get some of that back. For me, and too for the people who are interested in what I produce. I think it's evolution is important, you know, evolving into what you want to become is important. And I think we all want to become something, don't we? I mean,
Yeah,
for sure. Wherever it might be.
yeah, it's not like you want to get to somewhere and then say, okay, I'm satisfied now. But I think you want
it.
yeah, you don't want that. It's all part of a process, isn't it? And you know, I want to go deeper. You know,
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you guys do too. You know,
Yeah, you always want to go deeper, mate.
yeah, we've taken the bite out of a sandwich. We want to finish the sandwich off and then go and discover another sandwich, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get you in trouble, that though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Depends what you put in the sandwich, mate.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I can relate to that, definitely. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I must admit, the last 3 times I've been out with a camera, I haven't took the video camera with me.
Yeah.
Purely because the weather was crap. I didn't trust the Sony weather sealing on the video camera.
Yeah.
And 2, I got a bit of a video in the bank, so I didn't feel so much pressure to get a video. And I actually really enjoyed just wandering, like scouting. You just go for a walk, you know.
Well, this is it. I mean,
Yeah.
for the first time in a long time, I've just not done anything at all. I switched off from everything.
Yeah.
All Christmas, I just decided, right, 2 weeks off. I'm just switching off to everything. I didn't switch the computer
Brilliant.
on once. This is the first time I've done anything photography related in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just felt as though I needed that kind of break away from it.
You do, don't
Yeah.
you?
Well, not
Yeah,
only for me,
definitely.
but for the family's sake as well. Because, you know,
Oh, of course. Yeah. You need family time, don't you?
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's been
Rest
nice.
is good. Rest is good. Rest is good, mate. Rest is
Yeah.
good. When
Well,
you
this
come
is it.
back, you're fresh. You know.
I mean, I started a video before I went away for the 2 weeks. And so I've got a sort of video ready to go, kind of half done. I just need to finish it off and get it out.
Okay.
And then Bright Barnum's over from Canada, so I'm going to meet up with him this week at some point, I think. Get some,
Oh,
some
nice.
more stuff done, hopefully. And see how it goes from there. 1-to-1 this month as well, which just booked 2 days ago, which was good. Yeah, bits and pieces. It looks a lot brighter than it did, you know, before. Things are starting to pick up a lot better. So
Good.
it's been good to be able to switch off to it and not worry about it too much. Because that's
Yeah,
always
if you know you got something coming up in a month, you can relax for a bit, can't you?
Yeah, well, this is it. And then we've got our thing at the end of the month. We've got Tuscany coming up at the end of the month. So,
Yeah. Can be a goodie.
yeah, looking forward to it. Should be good
Oh,
fun.
decent.
So, this evening's discussion, Tom, what are we talking about? This is right up your alley, mate.
So this month even, Matt suggested we talk about some woodland, shall we? So woodland photography.
Yeah, bloody trees. Yeah.
Bloody
Bloody
trees. Yeah.
Is your mum going to switch off then, Matt, now? Or does she
Yeah.
like trees?
Yeah, she doesn't like twig
My
cuddlers.
mum-
Yeah.
What turned you on, Tom, with trees, mate?
I like the individual characters. I like trying to imagine characters in the trees, you know, in terms of the individual trees themselves. But it's more, for me, it's more about just the aura you get from being in the woods. You know,
Okay.
I like what it offers my head. You know, I just feel clear, free. I don't feel overwhelmed and hemmed down by the complexity of it. I don't really get like that. I think it's just because I'm more of a laid back type of person anyway.
I would never guess
don't-
that, mate. We never
No,
guessed it.
no. We won't talk about the fact that he fell asleep in one of our podcast recordings once. It's one of the first ones we did. And his headphones weren't even working that night. I didn't realise it. I can't know. We know you're laid back. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a lot of people see Woodlands as an intimidating place, don't they? And they,
It's because it
that's
is.
what- yeah, but that's why they find it hard, and it's just like it becomes a thing. Whereas I don't tend to feel like that. I just sort of just go for a walk, and things come to you a bit more naturally if you can chill out, can't they? You know, don't put so much pressure on yourself, which is hard to do. I must admit, especially when the conditions are good. And
I think you guys in the UK are very blessed to have beautiful woodlands. Obviously, you got, when we're talking about woodland photography, things can change based on what type of trees we have available, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think in the UK you're blessed with beech, birch. Come on, you're the ex-tree guy, Paul. What other native trees are there?
Well, that's it's
The
beech,
UK.
birch, oak,
Oak, yeah.
alder.
And ancient
Yeah.
oak and beech. I mean, you've got these forests that are, you got Old Girthy, which is up your way, isn't it, Paul? What's that, Old Girthy? What's the name of that tree?
Oh well, I've
Is it
got
old,
one.
Old,
I've got one right on my doorstep here, which is.
what's the name of it? They've actually named it.
Well, they call it the fiddler's tree, the one that's by me,
Okay.
which is
Right.
about 750 years old, something like that.
Wow. So-
but then obviously, we've got trees like that all over the place. Quite lucky that way, I guess.
Well, yeah, when you have ancient woodland, they've just got so much character, don't they, really?
Well, it's more south, though, I have to say. It's more further down south where you have the better woodlands. Up north, we don't really have
Oh, right, okay.
the vast woodlands that they do down south.
Oh, right. Oh, I always thought it'd be the other way around, but no. Don't know. Well, is that temperature related, or what is it? More mountainous in the north than it is in the south? More lowlands in the south? What would it be?
Probably to
Or
do
just
with, it's
the
probably
amount of
just,
logging? Yeah.
well, that could be it. That could be the simple reason.
Yeah,
And you've got big forests down by you, Tommy. So
yeah, the forest I go to is called Savernake Woods, and it's 3,500 acres of ancient woodland. So there's I don't know how many ancient oaks there are there, but there's got to be 50 or 60 that are over 700 years old.
yeah,
You're kidding me?
And they've named them all. Like there's Belly Oak, and plus there's loads of different names.
yeah.
But it's like it's what they bring with them. Like the undergrowth, everything around them sort of just feels a bit oldie woldy, and a lot of them have died off, but they sort of preserve them, and then obviously that adds character as well, doesn't it? There's lots of them there that are hollow, and which adds to the aura of the woods when you go there. For
They
me,
do. Yeah.
Because you're surrounded by so much history, and it's all about trying to imagine, the image, the history and what they've seen, and when you go there and it's misty and it's dark, and that reflects in the images that I take.
Well, it's quite
that's the
easy.
idea.
Sorry, mate. It's quite easy to get like ethereal-looking images in woodland, isn't it? Really. And
Well, English woodland. Yeah, definitely. You've
Yeah,
got
the
areas
images,
that struggle with that.
They're quite dense as well, which is good in some ways, because it's quite easy to fill a frame, with character. But at the same time, it's challenging, isn't it? Because it's you're trying to sort of simplify,
Yeah.
or trying to make sense of it at least. Anyway, so we don't have so much vast areas. There's no sort of boring flat sort of undergrowth. It's very it's full of character, but it's very hectic. There's no sort of putting fences and things like that in Savernake. It's very the American would probably say it's quite manicured, but it's not in my eyes. It's quite raw. It's as raw as it gets from down here, anyway.
And then you've got that that woodland. What's it called? Wisman's. Where's that Neil Bernal where he was, famous
That's
for
on-
photographing? Wisman's. What's it called?
Whispers
Yeah.
Woods, on Dartmoor.
Oh, I'd love to go there.
Yeah,
I would
that
love to
was-
go to that place.
Yeah, I used to go there quite a lot when we lived in Bude because it's about 40 minutes that was from my house in Bude.
Mm-hmm.
When I lived in Cornwall. So I went there quite a lot. Never got missed there though. Because you always committed to going there because, once you set off, you're there, you're on the way. You don't get missed, you don't get missed. But that's such a hard place to shoot at. Because it's like,
big either, is it?
no, it's tiny. It's tiny.
Is it really?
Yeah. Like if you didn't have to climb over the boulders and you walked, you would get through 10 minutes, you'd get to the other side.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite small, and you can see that it's doing like a little valley, and it's just farmland, and it's just left there down in the bottom of the valley, so you can see farmland like through the trees. So it really needs mist. You really need that sort of mist to soften the background, so you can't really see it.
Yeah.
Or you kind of approached, which is, a subject I was going to get into later on, Tom, is that, okay, how do we approach woodland photography, right? You tend to approach it, you're inside the woodland, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Right.
Which is something I always did too, being inspired by, the ethereal type of photography from certain photographers that, when the super wide angle photography came in and you would get under these trees with the, the branches and that wrapping around you, and that was the whole feel. It was a bit of a movement, wasn't it? That's kind of dying off now.
Yeah.
But that was the type of style to be inside the woodland and doing that wide angle type of stuff. You're sort of inside the woodland, but you're sort of catching small scenes within a woodland, aren't you?
Yeah.
But there's that other approach that I found that you could probably apply to woodland like that, which is just like a small patch of woodland, is to actually photograph from the outside, looking into it. And I found that lately I just did a bit of an experiment because I went to a woodland, a small little area, a very, very small little tiny area with silver birch. And I found that shooting it from a distance, so actually being on the actual, farmland, as you said,
Yeah.
and setting up my tripod and and looking at the place from a distance and trying to pick up details and picking up forms and shapes of the branches and how the trees intertwined and the atmosphere and the layers within that forest itself, and capturing those smaller scenes from a distance.
Yeah.
It's a good approach, isn't it?
Oh, definitely a good approach. There is a section that I haven't been there for a while, but I used to go there quite a lot because the sun rises from a certain direction, and there's like a walk, and you sort of go walk around the square, like a big square field, and obviously when you start from one side, when you walk around the other side, you can see the other side, and the sun rises from over my shoulder. And I've took some shots of that sort of approach as well, because you can see the woodland. I know you're in it, but you can see it across a field on the other side.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to do that often actually, but it's always something I feel like I should do more of, because there's so many opportunities, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like you said,
Sorry.
The shapes of trees is what's fascinating us. It's what's fascinating to us, isn't it? It's not so much the singular tree itself; it's the actual woodland.
Yeah.
The everything that's around it, isn't it? But obviously, being inside the woodland, you get a feel of being in there. You get the sensation of being in there. Being on the outside, it's a different sensation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then like that approach as well, I feel like you get slightly, more so in the woods I go to because it's quite dense, but you get more opportunities with utilising the shapes and light, like the way you just described, Matt, because you're reacting to the way the light's hitting leaves and branches, and whereas when you're in the woods, it does tend to be, and I'm assuming because you look at some of the latest images I took, I know it's winter, so it's going to reflect that anyway, but you don't. The light isn't. It's a lot softer and more subtle. It's not as dominant in the image, perhaps. But yeah.
Paul, how do you approach a woodland, mate?
Well, I used to struggle until I started using a technique where I look for open spaces in a woodland. I look for edges of woodland where there's light coming in, and I use the light more now. Mm-hmm. So I'll actually, I mean, you can be inside a woodland and find a patch where there's, you know, obviously light coming through, and that light kind of dictates then what I'm going to shoot. Okay. So I very much use the light rather than the trees themselves, if you know what I mean. I look for what the light is, what it's creating, basically. So it might be backlit branches that work really well. And you tend to really struggle to get, you know, if you're deep within a forest, you kind of really struggle to get those backlit branches unless it's a really spaced out woodland and you've got those open areas. Yeah, definitely. So that's the way I kind of tend to approach it. Is I'll probably, rather than being right in the middle of a forest, I'll walk around the edges and I'll look for the light coming in and interacting with the trees on the edges. Yeah. And that's just the way I find it a lot more. I find it easier that way. And then I'll look for, on top of that, other obvious things like pathways or trees that might look like they've got tunnel shapes. So you're looking for light through like a tunnel of trees, something like that, something that leads the eye through, like a darker section of woodland into a lighter section. You intend to enjoy Woodland too more, Paul. I've noticed too when you've got the spring. You enjoy a forest floor, don't you? You know, the flowering forest floor. Yeah, well, it's quite weird because for woodland, a lot of woodland photographers like the shape and form that the branches make in the woodland in winter. Yeah. Whereas I actually quite like it when they're in leaf. I actually like trees when they've got leaves on them. I like the backlit leaves. I like, you know, all of that. And it's something I was actually discussing a while back there, because a lot of people do tend to lean towards liking the shape of a tree without any leaves on. And I get that. Yeah. I do get it. But I do like not necessarily the greenness, but it's you know, it just has more life for me. The tree has more life when it's got leaves on it. Look, I think in that case you're correct, especially like, you know, we had on, was it last year? We had Simon Booth on. Yeah. I look at Simon Booth as 99.777% woodland photographer, isn't he? Yeah. For people who you don't know Simon, we've recorded a podcast with him. Go and listen to it, or go and check out his YouTube channel. Amazing photographer. And his woodland approach, especially during winter, is and I think he brought up some videos recently. Actually, he compared a woodland, same place, same compositions, 1 week apart. 1 week it was snowing, and then the next week all that snow had gone, and he just wanted to show you the difference between the two. And predominantly the difference was, obviously, snow, it simplifies everything, doesn't it? But at the same time too, it had just snowed. So you had this really, really blue, cold atmosphere to everything. And when you've got branches with no leaves and everything on them, you need some form of atmosphere, don't you? If you've got no atmosphere, you've got nothing in those shots, do you? At least if you've got backlit green leaves or autumn colour, it gives it something, doesn't it? But in winter you need atmosphere, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, you do. Definitely. Yeah. And what's that favourite atmosphere? And that goes for any of it, though. I mean, it just shows you that that time when we were in a brood cell there, and we dropped, Adrian and I had dropped all you guys off at the hotel. We went out, and then there was all that fog and mist and low cloud came through. And we had to leave it to come and pick you guys up, but it was amazing in there. There was, you know, it's because I hadn't seen fog or mist in there before. And it just looked stunning through there because there was all those trees. They were all looking gnarly. There was one that looked like a wizard with a wand sticking up in the air. It's gone now, mate. It's gone. Yeah. That tree's gone now. It's gone, is it? Yeah. Yeah, well, I was back there this summer, wasn't I? In September I was there, and I went and did that path, went for a walk. Yeah, it fell over. Yeah. That tree's gone now. The wizard's gone, unfortunately. That's what I mean. And it's just things like that you take for granted, and that's one of the things that you really have to do is
is if you've got the conditions and you see a shot, is just take it, because they're ever changing woodlands. They can they can change in a flash. They really can. It goes for anywhere, but more than anywhere, I think, just takes a bit as a wind, a storm, anything, and the whole scenes can change.
Yeah. But definitely fog is a favourite condition, isn't it, huh?
For sure.
Would you agree with that, Tommy?
Yeah, it's very lucky. The woods that I go to is right in the bottom of a valley, so we get mist in there quite a lot, to be fair. It just helps, doesn't it? Because you're trying to create a feeling and an emotion, and that just gives it to you instantly.
Yeah.
And it softens your backgrounds, helps with you with separation, and like Paul said, if you can get some light in there dictating where you point your camera, then when the mist lights up in certain areas, you get warmer tones and cooler tones in the background or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, mist is amazing, and that upside, just walking around in a misty woodland I find it so inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, it's quite hard sometimes to not get too excited, isn't it? And get carried away, and you end up trying to shoot everything and not shooting anything very well.
Yeah.
So I always try and always say, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I always say to people when I do one-to-ones or whatever, is we'll just stick to this area for 4 hours or 8 hours or whatever, or stick to 2 areas, because otherwise you end up just walking around and around and around. You don't. I'm not saying you have to have a specific plan or a route, but if you could just sort of stick to one area each time you go out, it just stops you getting so overwhelmed by especially if you get some good conditions.
That's the same. But that's the same with any photography, isn't it? Really, I mean, that's basically, people will say to you, "Well, how do you get such good photographs?" Is because you don't spend your day running from one area to the next like some photographers do. It's you pick your location and you stick it out. And not necessarily, you stick with that one composition, but you stick with an area to see what you can get from it. And I think that's how you come away with a better photograph, say.
Yeah. I think a lot of that just comes down to like experience and knowledge of the area as well, because so many times that I've been to the woods and like a bluebell season, for instance, in Westwoods with the beech woodland, and which is just about 5 minutes the other way. In the morning, it is absolutely manic in there. Honestly, there'll be 15, 20 cars in the car park at 4 a.m. Everyone will just go ballistic, and I really don't know why, because they're not going anywhere. And the amount of times I get some better shots when everyone's buggered off. Yeah. You know, people crash in there. The sun comes out just as before the sun comes out. They take their shots, and then the bag's on, they're off. And I'll just hang on. Just chill out a minute. The fog might come a bit thicker. It softens the light again, even though the light's higher. They just think because the light comes up higher, that's it. It's done now. Yeah, but it's not done. It's just that you just change your direction of where you put. You know, you're looking for something smaller, maybe, or you never know. The mist might come in again and soften anything anyway.
And it's dictated by the time of year as well. I mean, during the winter, it's not got the leaves that I enjoy, but it's also got that light that doesn't really get harsh. Even in the woods, you don't really get that many hot spots or anything because the sun's quite low. It's only really in spring and summer when it's higher that you get real problems. You know, dynamic range and everything. It's not so bad at this time of the year in winter.
No, it's not. No. So I just think the local knowledge of the woods that you're going to is a massive advantage, because you're eliminating wasted time, stress, put yourself under pressure.
Well, especially when you're going in first thing in the morning, Tom. If you're going in there in the dark, you've never been to a woodland before, you're screwed, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. You're constantly under pressure from the moment you can see. You're already thinking, oh, crikey, this lot. And if something does kick off, it just heightens it, and makes you makes you even more anxious then, because you think, oh, I've got to get something from this because this doesn't happen very often. Or, and that, for me, that goes against the whole point of woodland photography. That's why, for me anyway, I know it might not be the same for everyone, but they're just calm, chilled environments. And I like try to relay that in my images. So if I'm agitated and anxious and stressing about a video or what, it never really works. And I think it comes across in the images in the video anyway. So just trying to relax really. And like, I think what you said, Matt and Paul, about shooting for the light is a big, strong piece of advice. I kind of do the same thing, like with a longer lens. That's why I like using the longer lens, really.
Yeah.
It's because it's like you're sort of not limiting yourself. I don't really like to think of the word limiting, but you're sort of, it forces you to pick out highlights or light off in the distance. It just stops you sort of from getting too overwhelmed and blinkered by surroundings sometimes.
But when you say longer lens, Tom, what do you mean by longer lens, mate? Like, what are we talking? What focal length are we talking? I don't know much about woodland photography. What do you mean longer lens? Where are we? What focal range are we talking at? Because you're in the woods, so people have to imagine you're inside the woods. You've got these trees all around you. They're quite close to you. So when you refer to longer lens, what do you mean?
I'm normally look at my Lightroom catalog. I'm no wider than 40 mil, most of the time. A lot of the time, most of my stuff is.
So you're not shooting at 200 or 300, mate. Okay.
Not all the time. No, it's generally between like 40 and 100.
Okay, so not that long. Yeah. No, okay. All right.
Occasional, like when I'm trying to do a bit more, like shooting backlit leaves, maybe that might be higher up in a canopy.
Yep.
Or I see a bit of light off the distance, so I will stick the 100 and 400 on.
Okay.
But yeah, it's normally around 70 to 100.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
40 to 100.
40 to 100, yeah.
So I was saying to you before, I used to shoot at 15. So super wide, get under the tree, like literally under it. So everything wraps around you and you're really concentrating on the characteristics of that tree, and everything around it is just accompanying that tree. It's just an element. It's accompanying, whether it's the atmosphere, whether it's the trees that are completely different to the character of that tree as an individual tree. But what I was saying before was to approach a woodland from the outside, sort of the outside looking in. When I say long, I'm saying 300 mils, from a distance, compressing right in there, getting right in there. So you're sucking in every single detail out of it, the atmosphere, the layers, the white balance, just from that distance. You'd be surprised, Tom, of what you can suck out of something from that distance.
Definitely. I said as well, like, you always get drawn to things that are off in the distance, don't you? And then when you walk over there, you're like, oh, that's because where you see it is where you've taken that shot.
Your head's moving all over the place, isn't it? So it's like, God, I'm overwhelmed by what's on up the sky, down below, or Then you get other approaches. You get guys like we talked about before, like some booth, they look at the floor, and take the picture of the what's under them rather than what's in front of them a lot of the time.
Well, each of us have our own sort of interest as far as woodland, isn't it? Because I mean, a lot of the places that I'll go, I've got a sort of, well, not an image in my head, but I've always got something that I'm drawn to, and that's always mist with trees going through mist going through the trees, rather, is what I mean. So like up on a hillside, and you'll see the mist coming through trees. I'm always drawn to that sort of scene, be it whether I'm in in Canada or Scotland. I've done images both like that, and it's something that always draws me to it. It's just because I like the way the light forms through the mist and onto the trees, I think. But we all have these sort of things that we're drawn to with woodland, I think.
Sorry, mate.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, I get a lot of satisfaction out of knowing that that's such a unique shot to you as well. Not that a wide angle shot isn't. That's not what I'm saying. When you get the long lens on and you pick out, details at that pool, like when we was in Abruzzo when I went, and you picked up the way the light reacted with the mist down there.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same approach I take by using the long lens in the woods, by shooting light off in the distance. That can't be. That's never going to be replicated. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not something that everyone sees. Most people would look at it and think, "Oh, that looks really good over there. I'll walk over there." And you get over there, and it's either gone or it obviously doesn't look the same.
It doesn't look the same.
Yeah. Of course. So, like what you're saying, Matt, by using a long lens, you're compressing that from that distance from where you are. Everything in between is being sandwiched, and that is where your shot needs to be taken from. And most people don't. Most people get sucked into walking over there, and then they get frustrated, and then they go over there, and then over there.
Just like use an example. When I leave work, I walk out of the hospital, and we're up right on top of a hill, one of the 7 hills, I think it is in Rome. And from up on this hill, you've got a perfect view of all of Rome, all of ancient Rome right in front of you. And when I walk out of the hospital, I can see this view, and it's beautiful, and you can see all the churches everywhere, these dome roofs of the churches everywhere, and you can see the birds flying on the top, and typical Rome scene from up above. And you look, and when I walk out, I go, oh, look at that scene, isn't that beautiful? And that many times where I've actually walked down across the road, gone right up against a wall to look down onto it, and it looks completely different. It's just not the same.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, that happens so often in the world. It does, it does.
But so much to offer with Woodland, isn't there? I think people need to, especially if you want to become more creative with photography, it just gives you so many options, and you can go in any season, can't you?
That's what I was going to say. Is that the seasons are really pronounced, aren't they, in the woods?
Yeah.
Like Paul said, in spring and early autumn, you've got colour, and autumn you've got punchy colour, and then it's dead and barren, and you get them ethereal shots. The mist comes in, so it's just a constant cycle of possibilities that are just a bit more heightened because you're isolating the subject a bit more.
Yeah. Well,
So what do you need to look out for, Tom? You go out into woodlands a lot as far as with regard to weather patterns. Okay, if someone wanted to go out, they wanted to shoot in fog. All right, obviously you're going to get it morning more than evening. Correct.
We do. Yeah, we do. More so, it's a bit late now. It's when I find the fog tends to get more consistent here when early autumn and late winter, because the temperatures are sort of slightly warmer. Are colder in the night, but they get warmer quicker. And then the other way around. So like you get colder nights, and then the temperature rises quite quickly, and we get quite a lot of fog then. So not so much now, but 3 or 4 weeks ago we had fog for weeks.
What?
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
Cheeky
we
bastard.
don't get it here.
I don't get it.
We very rarely get it. In between sort of where you are, Tom, and then obviously where I am, we very rarely get fog in the woods at all. Unless I go north, I very rarely see.
Yeah.
Is that because you're distance to the coast? Is it you're further from the coast, Paul?
No, I'm actually slap bang in the middle of 2 coasts, really, where I am, because where I am in the UK, it's almost the shortest place to join the 2 coasts together.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right.
So you've got the northeast coast, an hour and a half one way, and then I've got the west coast is about an hour from me. So I'm kind of in the middle of those 2 coasts. In fact, one coast is even closer if I go by the Solway Firth, because that's about 40 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
So it's this, I don't know what it is. It's just that we never really seem to get a lot of fog in this area. I don't know what causes it. I don't know what it is.
You don't have the rapid change in temperature, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I think because we're quite close to both coasts, the weather's kind of moving through quite a lot. all the time. We've always got quite a lot of wind, and that obviously mist and fog and wind doesn't really go together.
No.
So,
no. So where I live in Wiltshire is quite flat, and where I live in a valley, maybe that helps, with the wind, and the fact I am south, that the actual air temperature during the day is probably a few degrees warmer than you are, Paul.
Yeah,
which might help. Maybe your air temperatures don't get high enough quick enough.
No.
I don't know. Maybe it might be down to the type of trees. I don't know. Maybe the type of trees is the way they interact with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But no, very lucky really down there, to be fair. Yeah, that's what I tend to look for. Is I look forward to spring, and sort of an early autumn. Just more chance of getting missed, and I like the way that the greens are still hanging around in late spring. No, sorry, early winter. Sorry, I like the way the greens are still holding in, but you are getting some oranges in there as well.
Some people freak out with green, eh? Some people
I don't really know why
freak out with green. They just can't stand too much green in it. And I love it. I love it. I think it's great.
Obviously, if you go sort of mid-afternoon, you're going to get more atmosphere in the morning. I think when you got atmosphere with greens, it's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just painterly, isn't it? And
is that a key to woodland photography? Is generally you should be shooting more in the morning than you should be of an evening because of atmosphere.
It maybe depends where you are.
Yeah. For me, where I am, definitely. But then I think it suits my personality and my family life as well. So it does all come together for me in the morning.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I do feel kind of a bit more stressed shooting woods in the evening because the light's obviously fading.
Fast.
And it fades really fast. And,
definitely.
I feel a bit more under pressure that I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
And if you've got movement in the woods as well and you want to keep them shutter speeds up a little bit, that's obviously working against you as well. So, sunrise is for me. But,
sunrise, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we cover at woodland photography? Oh, places. Where's the best places in the world to go? Where's one place you would go, Paul, if you could say tomorrow morning, this is a woodland where I want to go and shoot?
I'd be straight back to the redwoods in a heartbeat, honestly.
In where's that, California? Okay, yeah, the ancient redwood.
Last year when I went there, it was just, I think we were spoilt by the fact that we got such awesome conditions, I think.
You know what I don't like about that woodland? There's only one thing I don't like about that woodland. And you'd be like, Matt, you're mad. That's the best part of it. For me, it's the worst part of it is rhododendrons. They ruin it.
Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't.
They're messy. Yeah. They're too messy. They look like a weed.
No, but the thing is, they do in our country, they do in the UK because they are a weed. But over there, they're native, so they're not a problem plant over there. Whereas over here, they take over. They take over everything in this country. That's why we have to control them here and they're always cut back. Yeah. But over there, they just add that splash of colour because obviously they haven't got like hardwood forests there. It's all obviously redwoods and it's all coniferous forests. So any splash of colour that gets added to that really lifts it, I find. Yeah. And especially when you've got that fog. And that particular location we were at, it was so close to the coast that it just took a certain sort of air temperature to bring that coastal fog in.
Oh yeah, when you're that close.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's so good, isn't it?
Combined with the native thrushes that have got this really mournful call in there, it was just an awesome place to be.
What about you, mate?
Obviously, that sounds decent. I like the idea of going to Madeira and shooting them trees up on the mist.
So what's it called? Flanken? Fankel? Something like that.
Something like that, or something like that.
Funnel. Yeah. We want somebody to comment. You can't actually, they can't put the comments, but on a YouTube video. They
can put it on Anchor, I think. Yeah.
Anchor, okay. Please comment. It's Fan cool. I think we just get our phone out and search it right now. We're too lazy, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to go
Anyway, Madeira, fan cool. Fan cool.
Yeah.
Fun cool. Hang on. Paul's going to find out.
He will.
There we go.
That place just looks awesome. Although everyone seems to be going there now, don't they?
Well, yeah. It's pretty crisp.
Obviously, yeah. But yeah, what about you? What do you fancy?
Well, I'm extremely biased by this, and it's probably because I miss home so much. But I've always been deeply fascinated by the alpine. I don't know. It's some people refer to it as ghost gum, but I don't think it's actually called ghost gum. It's alpine gum. I'm not.
Okay.
It's a gum tree, so eucalypt, and Australian eucalypt that grows up in the high country. So you're talking at sort of altitudes over 1,000 meters. Sort of the high country in Australia is usually between 1,000 and 2,000 meters, and you've got this beautiful. Imagine a gum. You know what a gum tree is, guys. A eucalyptus tree. So eucalyptus tree, but they're much lower to the ground because of the temperature and the wind conditions, with really, really twisty branches, and the actual bark itself. They've got a very white trunk to them with these beautiful different colours in the bark. It's peeling off, and you can get so many different colours in them. And they're stunning. They're really, really. I don't know if you, Tom, noticed any images I put out last time I was out in Australia of the gum trees that I put up. They're so gnarly, and obviously you can literally pick your own. When I say your own composition, there's not many photographers in Australia, so there's so much, and there's so much land in Australia. You can literally go out into the high country, the Australian high country, which is sort of the area, sort of northern Victoria, where, you do travel from Melbourne about 3 hours north of Melbourne. You got all this high country, all this alpine area, and you've just got this gum, this eucalypt everywhere up there with these old abandoned high country log cabins that were up there that, the rangers and stuff used to use back in the day, and, the old Ned Kelly stories and all that. And it's just a beautiful part of the world. And not many photographers, a lot of walkers, local walkers go up through these areas. But I did a hike up there about 25 years ago, just before I moved over to Europe with some friends. We did a hiking trip. It was when I first bought my backpack. I'd never bought a backpack before. I had an 85-litre backpack and my first pair of hiking boots. And I was, 20 years old, and did this walk with my friends. And I had one friend who came with us, and she had I think it was a Minolta film camera, but it was just a 35mm point and shoot. And took a few photos back, and I looked at them and I thought, they're amazing. They were great. Didn't have a camera back then. Absolutely, like you could wake up in the morning out there with these trees everywhere, the fog up in these alpine areas that just people have never seen. You could literally that would be something to do in the future. When the kids get a little bit older, guys, a few workshops up there would be stunning.
That sounds decent. Yeah.
Stop off in a local pub and have a good Aussie beer on the way home.
Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
Yep.
So it was the Fennel Forest in Medina.
There you go, Fennel. That was close. I said Fengal. That was close enough. Fengal, Fennel.
Yeah.
Like saying Fennel with a neck spasm.
Well, good to catch up, guys, and good to get the first one in the bag for the new year as well.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah,
back on track.
We've got some exciting photographers coming up with some interviews soon too. So stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
look forward to it, and then
good people.
We'll get another one
back.
Yeah, he's back.
We say that every month. Just back every month.
I'm just going to put it on every episode now.
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to get a little intro done.
Yeah. If you get t-shirts made, should we?
Yeah,
we're back.
Yeah.
We're back. With Tom's voice, we're back. Just found a twig. There we go.
Ooh, give it a cuddle.
See everyone. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
We've got one more subscriber tonight.
Yeah.
Well, it's got 7 listeners now. It's awesome. Kicking ass, guys, aren't we? 2024. Bloody hell.
I just want to say as well, this is what they're like when the cameras are on. So you can imagine what they're like when the cameras are off.
I just burnt my eyeball with my cup of tea. I don't know how that happened. Just went boiling tea, went straight into my eye. I don't know how that happened. These dodgy friggin' thermos thingies.
Anyway.
Okay, guys, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. See you
Bye
later.
now.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.